What's up, guys? It's your boy Pete, and welcome back to Planting with Pete. Now, if you're new here, this channel consists of almost everything houseplant related. Now that tickles your fancy, hit that subscribe button, sit back, and enjoy the video. Now, on today's episode, what we are doing, we are going to go over the care of a Cebu Blue Pothos. Now, I can tell you offhand that this plant here does not give me any problems where we're talking pest or low light conditions or too much water, not enough water. Now, keep in mind that I did grow these from cuttings. Most of you guys should know this here pot actually. I think if I'm not mistaken, yeah, I did a video on these a long time ago, about 5, 6 months ago ish. And what I did was I ended up cutting some of the vines that were on my mother plant, which you will see in a second. But I ended up cutting some of the vines and placing them down in here and letting them grow. And as you can see, guys, she is doing just fine. Growing perfectly, just to be honest with you. Now, when I say like neglect, guys, I did end up neglecting her, not to the point where I forgot or anything, but it was to the point where she really needed some water. And where I had her sitting, I really didn't feel like going in there to get her. So what water she was getting was kind of run off from another plant. So what I did was I went ahead and took her out, and I, of course, soaked her. And as you can see down in the bottom, there are, I think there are probably maybe 6 to 8 stems in here. And as I said before, it wish it didn't do that. But as I said before, this plant here gives me no problems. This plant here, we all know, has that blue sheen or shine on it. You can see it, kind of, sort of. Maybe. Oh, there we go. Maybe my light is. There we go. Maybe my light is kind of too bright, but if you have a Cebu Blue, and I'm pretty sure you have seen one, Instagram, Facebook, friend's house, grocery store. Most of us have seen a Cebu Blue Pothos, and if you can get that color to intensify, which I have done with the mother plant, she is currently outside. We'll get on those care conditions, which are completely different. Now, as you can tell, this here with my substrate, we have soil. Yeah, we have soil, you guys. Now, we do know most of my plants, I think I may have said it a few thousand times already. Most of my plants, I do have them in spag, which are mostly my rare to uncommon, hard to find plants. Yeah, and when I say hard to find, that's hard to find for me. Like I can go and find some of these quicker than some of you guys can. So for me, it's not, you know, hard to find or uncommon. But anyway, she's down in soil. What I decided to do, since I don't keep I would say, eagle's eye. I don't babysit these here, but I do babysit the mother plant because she's in sphagnum moss. That is the reason why they, or any plant that you see that is still in soil, I'm telling you now that I check on those maybe every other day compared to the ones that are in sphagnum moss, which needs a lot more care. But the substrate, you guys, is nothing but your garden soil from Milk Grow Garden Soil. I have some mulch in here, peat moss in here. Then I also have some perlite as well. But she does hold water pretty well, which is what I wanted it. Again, just because, as I said before, once I put these down, I don't look at them, or hawk eye. I don't stalk them to the point how I do my sphagnum moss plants, so that if I do, like I said, go a day or two without actually, hey, how you're doing, then I know they still have water. Now, once it warms up, then yeah, once it warms up, I still have about a day, maybe a day and a half to check on them before they start to be like, hey, put some water on me. Now, where she sits, she used to sit in the south facing bathroom, which is a lot brighter than what I have here. Even with the grow lights, you know, it's like you can't outshine the sun, if you get what I'm saying. So she went from the bathroom to in here, and from in here, actually under that Brazil right there, and there's a stand. You probably can see, you guys may have seen the stand, but she sat under there. And then I took her out, which was earlier today, and she's now going to sit down here on the side stand, which I have here next to my work table. So for the most part, she's getting your, I would say, about 3 to 4 hours ish of indirect south facing sunlight, plus the actual grow lights as well, which I did adjust. I put the stand on top of the table instead of having it straight down. So she is getting some of that extra light as well. And then plus this door here, you guys, where the stand sits, you can't see that, but where the stand sits, that is normally where the light can come in, basically, and she get more light. Um, yeah, she'll definitely get more light here than she will there, but lighting conditions are, I want to say the same from the bathroom. As I said before, that it's brighter in the bathroom, but she's still getting that bright indirect sunlight, and then plus I said the grow lights as well. Now, as you see, I don't have her on a moss plank. These plants can grow just fine, trailing, climbing, jumping, skipping, whatever the case may be. This plant will not disappoint you. Now, I will say, if you want bigger and dramatic leaves, then of course these plants need to um, have something to climb up on. Can I lean this over? I don't know if you can lean this over, but of course, you've seen most of my plants. Like definitely those there. It needs something to climb up on in order for it to get a bigger leaf and for the leaf to start to molt or molt. Um, Start to mature and then transform. Now, some of these in here, as you can see, the bigger leaves were some of the original ones that like I said before, I did cut these and I propagated a lot from that little, I think it was maybe a vine and 2 cuttings or so. Kind of how I do my micings, but the micing's a lot different. We're not talking about micings, but yeah, propagated her, put her down in soil, gave her some bright light to help start off, give her that kickstart. So when I do, or if I ever have to move her, she won't, I don't say dawdle. She's definitely going to go into shock, but it won't be anything like drastic. How maybe you can get a plant from the store or your nursery and come home and it just falls apart. So again, growing plants in your home condition is the best way to go. That's why I usually go with cuttings. And if I don't get a cutting, then it's usually a mature, fully rooted plant, which you usually definitely don't have any problems with at that point. So yeah, guys, this here is my Cebu Blue. This one, again, has been growing inside with no problems, no pests, nothing. The only issue that I've had with these plants would be me, and that is keeping water on this one specifically. Now, what I'm going to do for my next Cebu Blue, you guys, we are going to do an insert on her only because she's an outside plant during certain parts of the year, and then the inside she's definitely back in, which is, I just love this here Cebu Blue. Guys, the freaking transfer from outside to inside is just it's perfect. There's no shock, there's no losing of leaves, there's no stunning of growth. As long as you bring them in, for me, it has to be the perfect time. That way that the outside matches the inside temperature before it starts to get colder outside and then it warms up in here. If you get what I'm saying. So if you can get that right timing to bring them in, that's with any of my plants. You get that right timing to bring them in, then you don't lose any leaves, especially if you have your lighting, humidity, those things on point. then you're definitely going to um, enjoy the fruits of your labor at that point. Now, back to this outside Cebu Blue. Now, she is currently growing up on one of my moss planks. Of course, as I said, once you give these plants something to climb on, the leaves start to get a lot bigger. Then they start to mature, and maturity comes with different leaf shapes. And with the Cebu Blue, that is what I'm trying to do. I have her growing on the moss plank, which, as you can see, she does it all the time. Well, not all the time, but I'm pretty sure she was going to. When I put her on the moss plank, you guys, she had been cut. And I mean, the leaves we're talking maybe about 4 to 5 inches long. And honestly, if she would have stayed, give or take another month to a couple of weeks, then I would have seen some type of fenestration on the leaves. Now I cut that one, I cut her up rather, because I did a lot of trading once upon a time, and still currently now. They were hard to find, and then once upon a time it was really hard to find those, and it popped up one day at Lowe's, my Lowe's down the street, and I got it and grew it, chopped the prop, grew it, chopped the prop some more, and um, I was introduced to another plant friend who just was looking for Cebu Blues, and it just went from a trade fair. And as you guys know, most of my plants, at least 95% of my plants, have been from trade. So either trades or gifts or whatever the case may be, but mostly trade. So she was chopped, and I had to start it from the bottom, which you probably can see from the bottom leaves are a lot bigger compared to the ones that are in the middle. Now, as this plant, before this plant started to grow, I did put it on my moss plank, and she started to grow up. And once she climbed and got to the top, I figured, why not put her back outside and put up against the pole that holds, the framing together. And what she'll normally do with any other climbing philodendron, those area roots will come out, as you can see, and attach themselves to that cement. Is that cement or blocks, or what are those things? Cement blocks? What are those things? Are we really doing this right now? Um I'm like, okay, yep. Let's say blocks, okay? Whoa. And it's gonna go. She attaches herself to those to it so nice, to the point where, like you would see any other area roots from a vining plant, that she attaches, and the area roots start to spread and latch. And then once she gets a good latch, she takes off. And at this point, I switched her around in the position that you're looking at now, just because the vines, as you can see, are pushing on one side. Now, that started off inside of the grow tent where they did sit part of the winter, and they decided to grow towards the light source. And when I mean all of the stems, I mean all the vines literally grew towards the light source, which was understandable, but took them out and I put them in front. And of course, the light source is growing in the same direction the light source was in the grow tent. So I went ahead and moved her over to the position to the position that you're looking at now, so that she can get more light. And she was already trying to get that direction anyway. And as you can see, the leaves are starting to double in size, and that's just with the moving of the pot, you guys. So eventually, I would say, hopefully by the end of summer, beginning of fall, maybe we will have some fenestrations. If not, again, then of course she has to be cut and then propped back down and go from there. Unfortunately, unless I add another moss plank to her, which I probably won't, again, just because she goes back and forth outside until I get something bigger, spider fermentant. I don't know. I need something that can house height and humidity. So yeah, we're gonna figure that out. But as you can see, she is one of the mothers, so she is growing down in sphagnum moss. Once upon a time, she did not grow in sphagnum moss. A matter of fact, around this time last year, she was in soil doing the same thing. But when I chopped her and traded her, I did put her in sphagnum moss. Now with the sphagnum moss, you guys definitely know you have to keep an eye on it because it dries out quick, and I mean super quick. Now she is outside, so you can just imagine how quick she dries out. So I do have to go in with my spray bottle and spray the actual plank. I don't mess with the actual root ball or the roots of this plant, just because if it has rained or if I watered it, then I know there's water still down. Whoa, still down in the sphagnum moss. So I have to get my bottle and I just spray the moss plank just to make sure that those area roots can get some extra water, extra nutrients, stuff like that. And it doesn't, I don't say necessarily dry out, but it doesn't dry out. And then why not? You know, while I'm at it, I tend to spray the post as well, just to encourage those area roots to come out and latch on a lot quicker. This time of the year, it is crazy humid out there, so they're loving that, and they're growing. The area roots are just growing to what they're giving. This with any plant, they will grow as much as you give them, if you get what I'm saying. But light wise, I can't really control light with this here plant. Again, she's outside, but I can control, I don't say the intensity. Yeah, you technically can control the intensity if you put it in partial shade, you know, but I I can't control the heat. How about that? I can't control the heat from the sun, but I can control how much light it's getting, and she gets pretty good amount of south facing sunlight, which is about 3 to 5 hours. And once that, I would say 4 to 5 hour mark, those trees back there, the sun hits the trees and then the sun is gone. It's not gone, but it's still bright. But of course, it's in that partial shade of a situation at that point. But all in all, guys, as you can see by both of these Cebu Blues, they are doing great. And again, if you can find one, do yourself a favor and get you one. Again, these are one of the plants that someone will ask, well, why does this plant look a little blue? Yeah. So get you one of these. If you haven't, try to find you one. If not, see, can you trade for something? There's a lot of people still looking for Cebu Blues, and luckily prices are going down on these, and then you definitely can find them in the big box stores. But again, great plant, low light conditions, they still grow. Brighter light conditions, they grow even faster, bigger leaves. Give them something to climb. The leaves will mature a lot quicker and then definitely start to fenestrate, which is what I'm hoping to get this year. If I can get them this year, then I'll definitely cut it and see can I prop it and hopefully keep the maturity. I know it probably within 1 or 2 leaves, it should get it back. And let's hope, even if let's get it there first, and then we can go from there. But yeah, I'm just in love with this plant, guys. Get you one, pest resistant. As I was saying, bright light, low light, too much water, not enough water. This plant holds up on its own. Will most definitely recommend this plant to a beginner, to a pro, to someone who couldn't spell plant. You get what I'm saying? I would even recommend this plant to, I would say, a teenager, someone who doesn't even care about plants, you know. Overwater it as long as it has drainage, and I would say definitely nothing that keeps it soggy, but as long as it has drainage and maybe a good airflow to help with the extra water, you really can't even, yeah. So recommended, guys. And again, Cebu Blue Pothos. Now that is it here, you guys, for today's video. I try to keep it short, but we know how that goes. I get to rambling on, but are you all right, Pookie? Oh God, my doggy. He's over here chasing the fly. Yeah, guys, that is it here for today's video. Please do me a favor, hit that like button if you enjoyed. Also comment down below. Let me know if you have any of these Cebu Blues. Let me know if you are currently still looking for some. If I'm not mistaken, I think this Cebu Blue here is going to, I think it came, yep, matter of fact, there's only this one and the other one. This is this is one of the Cebu Blues that will be going into the giveaway pile, or that is in the giveaway pile eventually. If you guys been following me for a while, you should definitely know that I have tons of plants that I would say I chopped and propped the mother, and they're to the point where they're growing to the point where I'm liking, loving them. A matter of fact, and anything extra that I do like, I definitely don't throw it away. So I've been placing them, or potting them up rather, for giveaways. So again, this is one of the giveaway plants. You guys want to see her? So eventually she will find a home with one of you lucky supporters. So yeah, guys, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure that button is great and not red. And I will see you guys on the next video. Bye. Whoa. And cut. That's a wrap, guys. Good job, Pete. See you back here on set tomorrow.